Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. Today we're taking a look at the build that won Guardian Games. If you haven't kept up, the Guardian Games event just ended with Warlocks taking the crown. And the main thing to do during that event was the rushdown activity that was all about defeating bosses. And the build that we're going to showcase today does that extremely easily and extremely quickly. But it also has fantastic ad clear, and just about everything in this build works better than you would expect. Like, for example, the super we're going to use is Storm Trance, and with this equipped, you can still expect to see post-match reports like this, where the Warlock deals more than double the other two teammates' damage combined. Now, granted, Rushdown, the activity is gone, but this build is perfect for pretty much any activity you could bring it into, especially things like the Lawless Frontier or Conquest, and we might even see this make an appearance when Pantheon 2.0 returns this summer. Now, before we dive deeper into this build, I would like to ask you guys one thing, and that is to subscribe to the channel. I do my best to put out informative Destiny 2 content, whether that's builds, weapon reviews, guides, just the usual stuff that you probably want to see about Destiny, and my goal is to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2026. And I can't do that without your help. The only way for me to get there is by you, yes you, Matthew, subscribing, or Ryan, or Greg, or Jennifer. Regardless, I would really appreciate it if you did. And it's not just a you to me thing. For this build specifically, there are timestamps and a dim link down in the description. That way you can engage with this build easily. If you want to take it, you can use the dim link. If you want to find specific information, then you have a timestamp as well. I hope to have our relationship be a mutually beneficial one. And that's where I'll leave it. Now, beginning today, we're going to start with our super as the crux of this build. And yeah, this is going to be our main method for baking bosses and even ad clear with how much we get to spam it. This super, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be Storm Trance. It's a roaming arc super that most people don't think can do boss damage, but it can eventually. To start our showcase though, let's look at the DPS and total of the base super, which after the entire super ends, it comes out to 982 DPS and 12,500 total damage. To be honest, it's not great, but we're gonna cook here. And the first thing that's going to augment this is our exotic armor piece of choice. The chosen one is Storm Dancer's Brace, and it reads, Storm Trance hits and final blows increase the damage it deals, refunds super energy when it ends. Ability damage while amplified grants bolt charge. In game, we can break this down. First, we can look at the more unimportant stuff. When amplified, arc ability hits give us bolt charge. It's kind of cool, but not super impactful. We also get amplified on supercast. But for the very cool stuff, we can see the ascending amplitude buff that we get for simply dealing damage with the super. This will cap at 30 stacks and offer a 6.7 increase in damage per stack, which means at max stacks, we get plus 200% damage. So with this exotic equipped and benefiting from a bolt charge every now and then, our new DPS in total is 1,987 and 25,300 DPS. We've already doubled our damage, and it makes this build pretty much competitive with my other two DPS builds that I put out recently. But this isn't where this exotic ends, as it will also refund super energy when our super ends. This does require kills though, so against a single target you won't get it back, but you can get up to 30% back from one super by just getting a fair amount of kills. With that said though, this build has methods to get massive chunks of super back at once and quickly, even when you're only dealing with one target. Now, moving away from this exotic armor piece, our next topic is going to be the rest of our subclass. We're actually going to skip talking about exotic weapons for right now, as there are a couple options that we can go with in this build. So firstly, we're going to be on Prismatic. Our super is Storm Trance, of course, as you know. Our class ability is going to be Phoenix Dive. This gives us an instant heal and has the shortest cooldown, which is very important for this build. Our melee is going to be Arcane Needle for the 3 charges of a relatively high damaging ability. Plus, we really like the fact that needles unravel enemies. We need this for some fragment synergy. Our grenade is going to be Vortex Grenade for the good ad clear and damage, plus some more fragment synergy. Now, moving on to aspects, our first one is going to be Feed the Void. Believe it or not, Free Devour is really strong. This aspect will give us Enhanced Devour on any ability kill. In-game, that means we can be 1 HP, then throw a grenade or melee or super or use any ability damage to get instant health and grenade energy back. It's broken, you love it, I love it, we all use it and abuse it. There's a reason why this is just far and away the most popular aspect on Prismatic Warlock. Our second aspect, though, is less popular, with that one being Weaver's Call. This says whenever we cast our class ability, we spawn Threadlings. It also says that damage and kills create Threadlings. In-game, we can see the 3 Threadlings that spawn whenever we Phoenix Dive, and we can see that simply dealing damage will also generate perched Threadlings too. But what isn't stated in this aspect is that there's a secret effect, and a very important effect for this build. Threadling hits will refund class ability energy to us. We can actually see the chunks coming back when our 3 little guys do damage to Carl, and this allows us to Phoenix Dive way more often. And yeah, this is very, very important, specifically for Super Regen, which we will talk about in a second. To end our subclass though, we have the fragment options. First is Facet of Hope. This fragment shortens our class ability cooldown when we have any elemental buff. In this build, that's just going to be Devour, which we have all of the time. Next is Fast of Protection, so we have passive damage resist when near enemies. Then Fast of Dawn, so that our melees make us radiant. This is going to increase our outgoing weapon damage and allows our weapons to pierce shields, including that of barrier champions. Then we have Fast of Dominance, so our void grenades will weaken enemies, causing them to take 15% more damage. Then lastly, we have Facet of Courage, so our light abilities deal more damage to dark debuffed targets, which if we unravel enemies with our melee, our super is going to benefit here. And I actually want to show this off now. By having Unravel, a weakening grenade, and our newly buffed super, the new DPS of just a Storm Trance is 2,207, and the total damage of one super is 30,100. This is actually fantastic already, but no, it's not capped yet. Now, coming out of our subclass, I want to talk weaponry. And the most optimal one that I found, the one that I really like the most here, is the lightsaber, the Praxic Blade. With that said, the exotic, or any exotic rather, isn't necessary, but the lightsaber itself does a lot of good in this build, and I'll explain why. For neutral game, it allows us to be near unkillable with the guarding function. It does a ton of damage, and this season specifically, it has infinite ammo. There's not a lot that this sword can't do, and with a build that's really focused on one ability, this kind of fills in all those other gaps. One of the best benefits I found though is that when we swing away at a high health enemy, it generates a lot of super energy, and well, we need that if we want to spam our super as often as possible. Looking at the way I built my sword though, the first thing we have is offensive form. This is for more damage against bosses. Then we have the Forceful Blade mod, which increases our damage further. Our core is the impact core, so that all the effects happen on melee hits. And then our catalyst is Hyperblade. That way we can get the eager edge swing and amplified off of guarding damage. Again, with that said though, you don't need to use it. You can use whatever exotic you want. You could even use the Tractor Cannon Support Shotgun, which debuffs enemies, allowing them to take 30% more damage. It's actually a higher debuff than anything we have access to in this build. If you really like that, you can use it. It also helps out your teammates. But you could also use Ace of Spades or Sturm or Red Death, whatever you want. This build does not have any super restrictive weapon options. Now, on from weapons, the next topic is armor. The stats that we want are fairly intuitive. Our main focus is going to be super. This stat increases how quickly our super is regenerated, and then above 100, it increases our super damage versus everything. Our second focus is going to be the class stat. This is necessary for Phoenix Dive spam, which is a big provider of super energy. We're going to touch on that in a second. And then our third focus can be grenade or melee, so that we can spam those abilities more often. Personally, I would rather grenade, but yeah, my stats aren't great. Also, in this build, there is not a necessary armor set bonus. But with that said, to quickly show off what our damage now looks like with max stats, our new DPS for one super and a couple abilities is going to come out to 3,000. And our total for one super is 42,100. That is really damn good for an ability that takes 0 skill and you can do in perfect safety. And this form of the super is what allowed me to carry teammates through the rushdown boss rush activity. Moving on from armor stats, we now have our armor mods with some very important ones. On the helmet, we run Triple Dynamo. This mod gives us massive chunks of our super when using our class ability near enemies. This is very strong, please don't underestimate it, and I'm going to show it off in just a moment. On our arms, we run a firepower so that our grenade kills will make orbs, a bolstering detonation so that grenade damage gives us some class ability energy, and a focusing strike so that when we do melee damage, we also get a bit of class ability energy. Then the chest, we have resist, just cater that to whatever activity you're playing. The legs get an insulation for class energy on orb pickup, an absolution for a bit of all energy on orb pickup, mainly this is to double the class, and then a recuperation for some heals from orbs too. And then finally we have our class item, which gets a powerful attraction so that we suck up orbs around us whenever we Phoenix dive, and then 2 distribution, which refund a bit of all energy whenever we use our class ability, including our super. Now to show off our armor mods in action, we get like 15% of our super every time we Phoenix dive. It is very good. And if we pair that with damage from our lightsaber, yeah, you generate supers so fast. Like, it is kind of broken. But now on from armor totally, let's look at the artifact for as little as we really need it. First, we run kinetic synthesis so that we have infinite sword ammo for simply dealing damage with the sword. Then we run the sword suite of perks. We have combination argent blade for more damage, singularity blade for weakening anything on sword hits and also our melee, and then sword storm combo for even more damage and a little bit of survivability with the disorient there. The rest of the stuff on this artifact is passive stuff like elemental siphon, which will give us some ionic traces every now and then, and armor smith, which is for some DR whenever we break shields. Just fill out the rest of the artifact however you wish. But now to finish the build completely and this video, we've got the gameplay loop. The whole idea here is to spam our super and to especially have it ready for boss damage or hefty enemy clear, whenever that may be. So the fights usually begin with us getting any ability kill, a grenade, a melee, phoenix diving to spawn threadlings. All of these are ability damage that if we get a kill, it's going to grant us devour. This is our main source of survivability, and once we get that first kill, we can use the lightsaber to infinitely continue it. Once active though, just go to town with the Praxic Blade. At all times, use your Phoenix Dive as soon as it's off cooldown, as that will be giving us the most super gains in the build. Whenever we do have our super, pop it, or if you know you're close to a boss room, save it for that. You can use this to clear rooms though, and especially champions, and you'll get a lot of super back for doing so, assuming you get kills with it. As for what we want to do when we're at a boss, if we're specifically using this for boss damage, we want to weaken the enemy with our grenade, throw a melee to unravel them so that our super deals more damage, and then just give them the electric chair. That's literally it for baking bosses. Once your super ends though, assuming the boss isn't dead and you can still damage them, just use your lightsaber and Phoenix Dive as soon as it's off cooldown, and you will get your super back very quick. But yeah, that's kind of all I really have to direct you on. Do remember that you have Transcendence and you can pop that too, and as that's a void grenade, that also like weakens enemies for boss damage if you don't have cooldowns. It's a very intuitive build. You go around casting super, killing stuff, getting your super back, killing more stuff, nuking bosses. It's all very simple. And you get to use a lightsaber while you're at it, or whatever weapon you want. This build is really good, and I'd like to say that it might be a reason on why Warlocks won this year's Guardian Games. But with that said, thank you for getting this far into the video. Your viewership is greatly appreciated. Again, my goal is to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2026, and I cannot do it without your help, so do subscribe. Also remember that there's a dim link down in the description. That way, after seeing this build, you can just grab it for yourself. You don't need to go through the hassle of building it. You just take it, and it's there in dim for you. And with that said, if you want to support me, support the channel, a like, a comment, a subscription, joining my Discord, coming say hi to me on Twitch where I stream like 3 to 4 times a week, hyping the video, if you're on mobile, all that stuff helps me out a ton. If you want to support me, support the channel, but you can't think of a comment down below Tickle Fingers. That's like the old name for Storm Trance from what I recall. But with that, as usual, I hope you are having a really great day, and I hope to see you around.